So today we'd like to go over a few of the common invasive weeds and plants that we have in southern New Mexico, specifically to Luna, Doña Ana, and Otero counties. The topography and elevations in Otero County are a little different than the other two counties I mentioned because of elevation. So I'll touch on some weeds that we see at higher elevations that are a real problem for us. The big thing is we're going to try to keep this a very informal session. The main goal we want people to take away from this is identify the proper weed. And if you can't do that, take it to your extension office. If your extension agent can't help you, they have the resources at New Mexico State University to identify those plants for you. And we'll talk more as we go through this, why it's important you identify the plants you're going after correctly. So, if weeds need identification, take it to your extension office, as I mentioned. Maybe we can't give you the answer immediately, but we can get you the answer. That's very important of how we're going to treat the weed in the environment it lives in. So once you've identified the weed, and pick a method of control that is effective for the environment in which that weed lives. And the reason that's important is you'll have crop settings, you'll have roadside settings, you'll have maybe even backyard settings where the control method will be dictated by the parameters in which that weed exists. If you choose to use a herbicide, and we're going to talk specifically about herbicides today because on many of these weeds that is the most efficacious way for control. But it is a herbicide. You need to treat it with respect. You need to read the label and follow directions. That's very important. And always take safety precautions for yourself and the environment. So not only are you going to wear protective clothing to do this, that is required on the label of the herbicide you're using, you also need to be very conscious of off-site contamination by that product. Herbicides are a great tool, but if misused, they're a big problem. And remember, using the wrong control method can be sometimes more detrimental than doing nothing at all. So with that in mind, we're going to start with a few weeds. I'm going to turn it over to Jack, and we're going to talk about African rue, which is a very common weed all across the southern part of the state, southern Arizona and West Texas.